Welcome to the Innovation Squadcast. If you are looking for a podcast about instructional strategies enhanced by technology, you came to the right place. In our conversations, we will talk with tech experts, share ideas and strategies to help you build your toolbox with tools that you can use in your class immediately.
Welcome to the Innovation Squadcast, and thanks for making us part of your educational PD journey. First-time listeners, welcome, and for our returning listeners, welcome back. We are glad you're here today. Today, we are delving deep into the game-changing topic, dynamic alternative to traditional worksheets, designed with teachers in mind. This episode explores innovative teaching strategies that leverage technology to foster engagement, creativity, critical thinking in the classroom. Join us on this insightful journey as we uncover captivating alternatives, empowering educators to reimagine their approach to student learning. It's time to break free from the constraints of routine worksheets and embrace a new era of dynamic and interactive teaching. Let us dive deep into episode 71, Beyond the Worksheets, the Power of Engaging Alternatives. Before we get started, let's pause for this week's tech tip. This week's quick tech tip is inside of Google. What we're able to do inside of Google is to link to addresses and other websites, or we can also link to our Google Drive. Google has made it easier now to be able to insert links. So if I wanted to link this to Book Creator, all I've got to do now is highlight the text, hit Control-K or insert link, and then it is going to give me suggestions of things to link. And one of those is bookcreator.com. which I can just select, and now I can take out to Book Creator if I needed to. What's also nice is you can link with your Google Drive. And so if I wanted to link these Schoology show notes that we are working on today, and then again hit insert link, you can see that that Google Doc is found inside of my suggestions. I just select it, and now I have that link. So there's no more having to go find it, copy the link. Not that that's a lot, but this allows for a little quicker being able to link inside of Google. Hope everybody enjoyed that tech tip. I am Jimmy Kate.
I'm Pam Hubler.
And we are Innovative Learning Coordinators at Berkeley County School District. And we are talking about alternatives to worksheets. And again, we're not saying that paper and pencil are bad. They have their place. And we love, sometimes doing certain interactive things that are, again, paper and pencil. But if you wanted to take a certain activity that you've got, is there a way to take it and move it to a different level, right? And that's what we're talking about, moving up that level of Bloom's taxonomy, getting engagement, getting creativity, getting interaction and critical thinking in the classroom. And there's ways that you can do that with, again, kind of alternatives to worksheets.
Right. And it's a time saver too.
Yes.
I mean, I really think the amount of time that I see teachers and the way I used to make copies of things, and then you don't have enough for people. And it's just kind of a time suck, really.
Right. Yes, it can be. So, and there's paper constraints now at some places and things like that. So this just gives you an alternative option. Mm-hmm. So they're still their place. They still have, we're not saying anything, but if you wanted to switch it up a bit, we're going to go through a series of ways that you can kind of have an alternative to that. And the first thing we're going to talk about is kind of for you as the teacher, like lesson creation, right? And being able to, instead of a traditional worksheet and handing stuff out, what other ways can they, create a lesson, explain a lesson, instructions, stuff like that without using worksheets. So
my favorite is Screencastify. Yes. And I think if this was available years ago when I was in the classroom and I was having to teach the same lesson over and over again, oh my gosh, this would have been amazing.
Yes.
Because you can record your lesson and you can screencast. You can even use your slides that you're using or whatever. And then you can just share it with students, and those students that need extra time and all that stuff. It's a great alternative to having to pay attention strictly when you're in front of the class, which can also be one of those things that you feel like you're repeating yourself all day.
Right. And how many times do you, give out instructions, and then the first thing that happens is the first kid, what are we doing? Right. And so having that video that you can have them reference of, what are the step-by-step instructions, how to solve something, complete tasks, what are the actual directions that we're doing today, putting them in another place so that you can kind of multiply yourself, right? How many times you want to multiply yourself in the classroom? Well, that really, in a way, kind of helps out with that.
And that helps out with all the different levels of students you have in the class, because you can think of those kids that are super gifted and they get it the first time you say it, or they're just audio, like that's just how they learn. They get it the first time. And then you have the ones that are not like that, that need to hear it or can't be taking notes at the same time as they're listening.
Exactly.
Then they can do it. They can listen to it, and then they can go back and take notes, however it works for them.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. And we're going to talk about Screencastify a couple different times today. And we actually have an episode
episode 36 way back on how to use, Screencastify in the classroom. So if you wanted to explore other things of Screencastify, we have a link in the show notes. Head over to that episode and check it out, and see some other ways to use it. But we're going to talk about some other ways in this episode to use Screencastify. So keep watching as we go through. I used I had a flipped classroom for, kind of at the end. And I loved it, and the kids loved it. As I got better at it, it took some time at the beginning, learning all the different tips and tricks that go along with having a flipped classroom. But that the videos there that they could go back and rewatch and learn at their own pace, and really have different ways to access the information is really what the videos I learned, is that not everyone liked the videos, but some people really loved the videos, and so having those multiple ways of accessing the information I think was helpful as well. So,
and I know a lot of people that do that have it where they watch the videos at home. That's like their homework. So then when they're in class with the teacher, then that's where they do the work. And that's when you can help, the kids that don't understand something, or the kids that have it, they can just go ahead and get their work done
with their next project. Yeah. It's just good to make sure. And my biggest failure was making the videos too long, and really, had to learn to really shorten those up and succinct them into something that was, digestible in that kind of time. So, and then you've been diving deep into Lumio lately, and then you were sharing some of the great things that Lumio can get. How can they access Lumio?
They can get that. You can actually go from your waffle, or you can actually just go to, it's like Lumio, like lum.io. And then it's one of those things that if you have any slides presentations, you can actually pull them in. And then you can add shout outs, you can add responses, you can add game-based activities. There's lots of different ways to just activating prior knowledge, questioning, reflecting, manipulatives, graphic organizers, all sorts of things they can add right in there. Desmos, if you're a math teacher. And there's a whiteboard in there too, and that you can add, like if you go through a presentation, it's one of those things that you can just put it up there, and then let's say the kids don't understand something, you can add a whiteboard at you as a teacher where you can demonstrate, and it just stays in the presentation. Or you can add a collaborative whiteboard where the kids can actually participate with whatever it is that you're working on. And if you already use any smart notebook, because I have seen a lot of elementary teachers that still use their old smart notebooks. This is one way you can open them and you can add some engagement to it, and you can share it with students, because that was one of the frustrating things about Smart Notebook before was unless you were on a smart board, you could not use it. So the kids couldn't access your smart files. So this is one way that on their Chromebooks they can actually access it through a link.
So this is again a free BCSD resource already in your Google Suite, in your waffle, we like to call it. So. Awesome.
It looks like a little is a firefly. It's like, or it looks like a bee, but little firefly. And you can also right now, if you participate in the Lumio trainings that they have like a level 1, and they have getting started. One is worth like 1 credit hour, one's worth 4. And I have it linked in the show notes where they can register in Unified Talent. And then all they have to do is, once they're done with the training, which is through Lumio, not us, but through Lumio, all they have to do is turn in their certificate, and then they can get PD credit for it as well. So it's, you get the bonus of learning on your own something that you can use, but then you can also get credit for it.
Nice. So another way that people sometimes utilize worksheets is with quizzes and surveys. And so we wanted to just kind of remind some people of the different online quizzes and surveys platforms that they've got. One of those is, again, our learning management system, Schoology. Schoology has its own built-in assessment tool that is very much like formative in the questions options that you get. They automatically you can choose it to have it automatically grade, put that right into your grade book. So that's a really nice one. Google Forms. There's ways to, again, embed Google Forms right inside of Schoology. Don't forget about our Kahoots and our quizzes and our Bookets and all those great interactive quizzes and surveys that give really some nice immediate feedback right away. And then even like you were talking about, like Screencastify and Edpuzzle are ways to make interactive videos with, with questions as well.
And I love that Screencastify. If you do have those videos that you're already creating for the kids, you can add interactive questions within Screencastify, which is really nice. So then they can actually, they have to watch the video, has stopping points, they can answer a question, and they can move along.
Correct. Yeah. And these are all ways that you can kind of gamify that. The thing, we love gamification. When kids are playing, kids are learning. We know that that's the power of that. We actually have a gamification episode 57. So if you wanted to go back and check out some of the stuff we've talked about with gamification, and we also have an upcoming episode with Michael Matera, who's the gamification guru. So
I'm so excited that he's going to join us. And then, of course, Kendall always ends up doing gamification sessions at our innovation summits. So they're always fun. And those resources are all in our the BCSD Tech Schoology course too that we have. So if you're not in there, we'll put the code to join in
definitely
the
want
show
to join
notes.
there. There's lots of resources in there. So be on the lookout for those upcoming episodes. Go back to the gamification episode 57. And then and again, we got links to the Kahoot. We got links to quizzes. If you've never used them, Edpuzzle, Schoology, and Google Forms. Again, you activate through ClassLink or through your Google Suite waffle. So then we were talking about interactive infographics. And one of the things we started to get into is Adobe Express, and that's another underutilized creation tool. And so we're actually going to, another upcoming episode, right? So we got a lot of, is we're going to be looking at Adobe Express and really diving deep into Adobe Express. But Adobe Express is, it is accessed through ClassLink. So that is something that teachers and students can use to create, talking about interactive infographics, presentations, videos. They are really starting to add a lot of stuff to Adobe Express. It's something that is evolving pretty rapidly. And so we're seeing a lot of great creation stuff out of Adobe Express. So be on the lookout for that episode if that's something you're interested in, but again, access through your ClassLink.
Yes. And Google Drawings and Google Slides, it's one of those things that all you have to do is change the layout of the page, and then it can be whatever size you want. So if you want it to be an infographic and making it longer, you can do that in the page setup.
And then other things that you can do are digital storytelling. You know, that's one of the things that I loved in my classroom. Is probably where we spend a lot of our time, because taking that information and creating it. And again, with history, it's really great to be able to recreate stories and tell different stories. And so we use platforms like Story Jumper. Book Creator is my go-to. That was that was our go-to. Kids love using Book Creator. And then Storyboard, that was also one that we loved. You can make these little comic book strip type, or even like story or like a movie scenes or things like that were really great. It has all kinds of different interactive ways that you can add to it. So, having students create those digital stories, text, images, audio, all into those different types of platforms is another way to, again, be able to check what they're learning, but in a fun kind of creative way.
They have so much fun with that. That's Book Creator is one of those that I didn't use that much because it is one of those freemium apps, but we have some tips with that as far as how you can get away.
You get a library, you get 40 books, and then there's ways that you can work through that. And again, I love coming in and showing kids how to use Book Creator from everywhere, from pre-K all the way to 12 can use Book Creator, and all of them love it and use it in different ways. And every time I leave, the teacher's like, that was great. The kids really enjoy it, and because they are having fun creating something that they're a little more passionate about. So. And then we were talking about collaborative projects. And this is really where the Google Suite, I think, comes in. We've talked about drawings and slides and docs and all those already, but this is where you can really get collaborative with those.
Yeah. And I think with the organization of that, giving kids the freedom to be able to create what they want, then we have all the tools within Google that they can do that, whether it's within docs or slides. I mean, I love Google Slides. So that's a nice one to be collaborative, where they can make a document together.
There's lots of different ways.
Make presentations together.
You can work inside of spreadsheets together. There's lots of great.
That's great for math too, like as far as the spreadsheets and to be able to do some interactive math activities.
Yes. So the Google Suite is a great place to go. I was looking at, I was just thinking of a previous episode. So I was trying to search out when we talked about hyperdocs as one of those, options of, getting kids interactive and collaborative, and as kind of that, again, alternative to worksheets, and again, building those hyperdocs that are kind of, web enabled, that allows them to go to different places. And I'm trying to find that episode really quick.
Yeah, we can link that in there, because hyperdocs are one of those things that, I guess it speaks for itself. I mean, it is a doc that does have hyperlinks in it, but it has more of a lesson plan structure to it.
Yes.
So it is a great one.
Yes. So that was episode 45. We did that back when we had the green screen days. So it was me and you. That's
of course.
Check out episode 45 and hyperdocs if you're interested in that as well, and collaborative documents. And then Screencastify is back again, right? Screencastify is a great place to do collaborative projects, letting kids, again, create, they all want to be YouTubers nowadays. My daughter's, first grade talked about, wanting to be a YouTuber. I'm like, oh no, here we go. So, they're all about YouTubers right now. Or she saw someone we were looking at a Lego advertisement, and there was a kid in there, I guess, doing Legos, and that kid's a YouTuber. I'm like, oh no. All right. So anyways, but so Screencastify is a way for them to create videos like a YouTube video that allows for them to, again, show what they've learned, and then which goes right into podcasting as well. So
and podcasting is one of those things I know I had to kind of be forced into, like, really enjoying it, but I do really like it now because I always listen to them, but being a part of it. And I think kids feel the same way, where they're like, oh my
get
gosh,
so excited about doing podcasts. Just taking that one, adding that little word. I would do little, you can break it up. I did what I called microcasts, where I take a whole unit and they had to create these little, 3 to 5 minute presentation podcasts about all the different topics, or taking that big long project and having them interview somebody, especially, as a history teacher, I always did that, where they'd have to interview somebody like they were back then, and, and have those kind of conversations. So you're really talking about engagement, interactive, critical thinking, creativity, all of those are being used, but you're still getting that information. So creating podcasts using Screencastify is a great way to do it. Screencastify will give you the video option, so that if you want videos to your podcast, you can do that, but you can also pull the audio file straight from it, and do that. So you have that ability using that. So
there was even, I was at Daniel Island, and they were doing newscasts. So even though it was not like podcast, but the same idea, they had so much fun with that. And then they want to add props, and they want to add, they can definitely,
that's actually how I got down the road of project-based. Is the first thing that I ever had my students do was create a newscast. And it was based off of these old videos that were called like, newscasts from the past, and so I wanted my kids to recreate it. The first time I watched them, it was like VHS. So for people not our age, they don't even know what a VHS is. Using one of those, and then so I had my kids recreate something like that. They had the best time. They learned so much, and then I was like, okay, now I'm on to something here, and I kind of went on this road of every unit having some kind of project with that, and then it just turned into this, this lifelong educational journey of creation projects and fun things. And that's how I got started. So
that's pretty cool.
A newscast.
That was definitely not my classroom.
No, that's what we did. So, and then, kind of going along with that, digital art and design projects are another things. And back to Adobe Express, like I said, you can create all types of infographics and posters and visuals. Use that. You were talking about drawing.
Yes, doodle drawings and slides. And that's one of those, like Tony Vincent has those shapegrams. When I teach kids how to do that, they have so much fun. And then there's so many different lessons you can pull into that using the different shapes to be able to create images.
Isn't he an upcoming episode guest too?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
We got a lot of upcoming episodes. So actually stay tuned.
Have some good ones.
Yes. So
people don't have to just listen to us.
No, that's true. That's good. Using the digital art design projects, using any of those creativity tools are great. And then online debate and discussion platforms. So, Flip is one. It used to be called Flipgrid. Now it's called Flip, but that's a great way to have those kind of video debates. Schoology actually has built-in video that you can get from your kids, so that if you want them just to click on their video, tell you something that, give me a 1-minute synopsis of what we just talked about, they can all turn on their little video, boom, give you that, and get those video feedback, that quick exit ticket, kind of, instead of handing them a worksheet or something like that. You can do that. And then you like the Schoology discussion platforms.
I do. And that's, I think, one of those things that you think of, like our online classes that we would take, and you have to respond twice, but they don't have to be like that.
No,
and I do
you can make them fun and interactive.
Yes, and I like how you mentioned that, where you can actually do the audio or you could do the audio video. So even though it's a discussion, doesn't mean it can't be where you're actually watching something.
I did have one professor recently that really made the discussion board interesting, and I was because I mentioned I always did not like them. And I just was in a class, an applied statistics class, where the discussion board was terrible. But it's applied statistics. So, but it also didn't help, as the professor would always post these very long responses before anybody else could. She had too much time on her hands. And so it was like, all right, how am I supposed to respond after you just responded perfectly? So, but this one guy, he made that part of the rubric requirements was there had to be some kind of graphic or video, or, you know, so it was really cool that, you know, when you're looking, instead of just seeing a bunch of text,
right,
it was visuals, it was graphs, it was charts, it was videos that you can now interact with the discussion board, and actually learned a lot from the discussion board. And then actually, you know, and then in the research of finding those resources and looking for graphs and charts and videos, you're learning. And so he kind of tricked us into learning, but it was more fun and interactive.
Right.
Because you wanted to make this great discussion post.
Yeah, so, and then you're learning from each other too, not just the person that...
It can be done well,
yes,
if with the right kind of framing. I thought that was really cool. So.
Yeah, we might have to pull some examples together.
Yeah. All right. So we gave you a lot of different alternatives there. So definitely check out these show notes for resources. Again, we've got links to the podcast videos. We've got links to the tech tip videos. We've got links to all the different resources that we've talked about. Some of them are in your Google Suite. Some of them are in class links. Some of them are links that you can use as you are creating. We also have a link to the Innovation Squadcast PD. You can earn renewal credit for every 2 episodes that you listen to. There's a Google form where you tell us about how you've used it, what you learned from the podcast, and then, you know, pretty simple to get those renewal credits. We've had a lot of people taking advantage of that. So I think we've had over 50 or 60 submissions so far this year. So that's been great. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on YouTube or Spotify or wherever you get your podcast to get notifications for new episodes. We're pretty good about getting them out every Tuesday, but you know, sometimes it's Wednesday, sometimes we skip a week. Just depends on what we got going on. So, and we also want to hear from you. What podcast topics do you have? Do you want to be on the podcast? How are you using this? What alternatives to worksheets that you have? Is there something that we forgot? Again, this is about benefiting the teachers and students in Berkeley County and really educators everywhere, whoever is listening. So we definitely want them to help and give us those topics and be on here and share their expertise so we can benefit and get better as a group. So that's what it's all about.
Right.
Good. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Thank you for being here. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.